Hey everyone, this is Don Rasmussen, managing partner here at Quartermaster Tax Management. And the reason why you're watching this video is because one of your clients has sent this to you. And why did we ask him or her to do this is because we get a lot of questions from CPAs and accountants just like yourself about why the chiropractors or certain professions qualify for research and development credits. And you may be familiar with Section 41 and you may not be. But what I've found after doing this for 35 years and been in the tax world for 35 years is a lot of CPAs, it's not the incompetence, it's more about the time to focus on this topic of Section 41. And that's all we do. We're not interested in doing their tax returns. Our goal is to educate them and assist them in recovering the money that they did not get because they just weren't aware of it. And so I've invited my great friend and tax attorney, Jason Molnar, who heads up our R&D department, from a legal standpoint. And so I've invited him to come on here. We're going to talk about why chiropractors qualify. And so Jason, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
All right. So, we've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chiropractors. And so I get the feedback I get from some CPAs or chiropractors. I had two of them this past weekend say, hey, my CPA said chiropractors don't qualify. You open up yourself up for a greater chance of audit and just these type of things here. So I believe there's a lot of misinformation, Jason, out there about chiropractors qualifying, number one, and number two, the chances of increasing or putting a red flag out there for audit. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Sure. So when you think about the R&D credit, a lot of people think about the different types of business components that are eligible for the R&D credit. And it's really the first requirement we go through with any company that we're looking at to assess their eligibility. And the most common that you see in the wild, so to speak, are companies that develop products, companies that develop manufacturing processes, and companies that develop software. But in fact, there's actually more than three eligible business components. There's product, process, there's formulas, inventions, software, and techniques. And so with chiropractors, we're really looking at that very last one, techniques. Ultimately, what they're developing is a technique, and that technique could be a single individual modality of care that they've developed for their patients. It could be a combination of modalities of care that are used together in order to achieve a certain result with patients. And the way that these chiropractors are developing these is to go through a series or a patient population inside of their practice, try out those techniques, those modalities or combinations of modalities of care, and then they test and evaluate the results that they see amongst that patient population through reevaluations, which is a pretty standard practice in the chiropractic world. Because of the type of care that chiropractors provide, where it's not just you go in for a cut on your leg and you get it stitched up and you leave, it's week after week, visit after visit. They can evaluate and keep records of long-term improvements or lack thereof of their patients and how they're responding to these various modalities. And because of the uniqueness of that industry, we have a potential opportunity for developing a technique business component in that practice.
So, Jason, and kind of walking through some of these clients that we've helped, there may be a decompression protocol. It may be, it could be even a weight type of protocol or nutrition protocols. So these are things here that we have seen that have met the 4-part test with the IRS.
Yes.
And so what we have to determine is three things, what was done, who did it, and how it was done. Those are the three pretty much answers we're giving to each one of these type of activities. So when it comes to the R&D process, so when a chiropractor comes in and has a study done, it doesn't have to be, so they're bringing, let's say, for example, a technique, a process of treating a patient. It doesn't have to be new to the industry. No. It can just be new to that doctor, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so as of 2001, the discovery test, as it was called at the time, went away. And that discovery test used to require that you have to be developing something that is new to an industry or new to skilled professionals in an industry. That's no longer the requirement. It only has to be new to the taxpayer. And that's quite frankly was a huge change in the rules back in 2001 and now been with us for 22 years. That only has to be new to them.
Well, again, I appreciate you addressing this here. And certainly if you have further questions, feel free to reach out to us. But the last thing I wanted to say is, I forgot to share a little bit about your background. You actually were at KPMG for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, BDO, where we met. And the reality is, what you do is a specialty. This is not something that you do on the side or you do some other type of law, but it's all you do is R&D. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. And you'll see a lot of practitioners in this space, they focus on just the R&D credit. And the reason for that is there's so much case law, so much complexity, and so much need to understand the real minutia of how a business operates in order to be able to do this work effectively, that it's very hard to be a generalist who does, one or two R&D studies a year. You really need to work with a specialist on this.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. We actually, I hate to say this here, we had one of our clients who said, ended up talking to a CPA and finding out that he had tried, the CPA had tried to do the R&D study and kind of made a mess of things. And so fortunately, I believe we're able to get that, help get that corrected. But the reality, this is not something that, a CPA or just a journalist, like you said, attorney would want to, or tax attorney even would want to do, because like you said, the case law and all these type of things are changing. And it's very, very important to understand all, as you refer to, the minutia that goes into this process. So again, thank you very much, Jason Molnar, and just want to encourage you to, if you have any further questions, to contact us either at quartermastertax.com or call our phone number at 704-490-4111. I want to say thank you very much for serving our mutual clients well, taking good care of them from a compliance standpoint. As I tell all of my clients, we're not interested in doing their taxes or being their CPA or accountant. Our goal is to help recover money that they were entitled to. And again, we have a great team, a legal team here. We actually have doctors on our team as well to help maximize how much they get back. So we want to work together on the same team. And so I look forward to doing so in the near future. Thank you very much.